You may think that I'm a terrible husband, and you're right. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I am Raphael and I am here to review episode 2 of The Real Housewives with Toxic Husbands of Atlanta. We start the episode off with Sonia and her mom in the kitchen unboxing a bunch of pots and pans that they just got from Target, and then we're introduced to Sheree, Sonia's sister, who is also her hairstylist, as well as their mom, also being Sonia's manager, which I think it's so cool that they all contribute to this big family machine that is Sonia. Sonia also lets us know that she's hoping that within these 2 years that her family is staying here in Atlanta, that they could probably convince themselves to stay here a little bit longer because she needs them and she likes being around with them. But she also lets us know that there is 9 people living in this house. I'm like, 9 people? I mean, I don't know, Sonia, that's pushing it. That is a lot of people. But she goes on to list them. She says that it's her mom, her dad, her sister, her husband, their 2 kids, the neighbor down the street who's cheating on his wife with a mistress from 2 blocks down, the ice cream man who comes around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the mailman who delivers mail every single day, the pool boy from across the street. It was just a lot of people. At this point, they could have their own spin-off, The Real Housewives or The Real Family of Atlanta from down the street or something, and they could all be holding peaches or whatever. Because that is just a lot of people and too many personalities all in one house. At this point, they could have their own Big Brother. I mean, can you imagine yourself living with 9 people and you're feeling lazy one night, you're feeling too tired to clean your dish and you just leave your dirty dish in the sink. Next thing you know, you wake up the next morning and there's 9 fingers pointing at each other like, did you do it? Did you do it? Did you do it? No, we have to fight. And now nobody's talking to each other. So I don't know, that could cause friction, that could cause tension. I'm not sure. I hope we see a little bit more of that dynamic because it's interesting, but at the same time, you can never say that your house is boring. Sonia's mom starts rummaging through the refrigerator looking for a Jamaican patty. So Sonia, she's like, Mom, I want a Jamaican patty too, but it seems like all the boxes are just going empty all of a sudden. What happened? So the mom is like, no, Sonia. I know you got your peach and everything, but don't think that you could confront me because I'm trying to be the friend of the show for next season. So let me tell you something really quickly. I got everybody in this family, including the 900 people living in this house, their own personal box from Jamaica with Jamaican patties. So don't tell me anything about patties. I got my own and I'm just digging through your dad's box right now. So you got your own patties. And I'm like, wow. Like, I've never had a Jamaican patties, but obviously they must be good if they're fighting over it. So Sonia's mom is like, okay, Mom, relax. Like, it's fine. I just wanted a patty or whatever. So then the mom is like, no, we should not be having conversations about patty. We shouldn't be having a patty conversation. I'm like, damn, the mom is trying to get her peach for next season, but okay. I do love hearing Sonia's Jamaican accent. I love it. Like, I love her whole family dynamic. It's cute. The mom is like, no, I just don't think that we should be having these type of conversations. Like, I can do what I want. Nobody's gonna question me about anything that I want. I said what I said. That's all she needed to say at this point. So then Sonia asks her sister Sheree, so how do you feel about Atlanta? How do you feel about it? Like, what's your vibe about everything? She's like, well, you know, everything has been fine. Everything's been cool. You know, I'm still getting with the process of having my own routine and my own space. I'm just used to having my own things, but now I have to share it and stuff. And the mom did not like it. The mom is like, so what? We all have to do the same thing. Like, us and the rest of the people living in the house. What makes you so special? And I'm like, damn. Like, Andy, I think you gave the wrong person the wrong peach because I think you should give it to her. Then we head over to Chateau Sheree, which is finally finished, and we see Sheree in the kitchen. She's making a bunch of food for her and Kenya. Then we see her mom, and I'm like, wait a minute. Her mom, the lady that was just missing a couple months ago, are we just gonna gloss over that? Like, are we not gonna talk about it? Like, where was she this entire time? I don't think we ever got a clear explanation, and if we did, maybe I missed it. Maybe she was just lost in this big-ass house, and maybe that's where she found her. But, I mean, I guess we're just gonna gloss over that. But all right, so then Kenya, she comes over. Sheree shows Kenya around the basement and the entire house, and that whole house is beautiful. I mean, it was huge. It was so much space in that house. I mean, there was a room dedicated to massaging, massage tables, another room that was dedicated, like, I believe it was a lounge or a nightclub, ladies free before 11 with a dress code. You have to wear high heels. Men, you have to wear dress shoes and a tie, and you have to pay $20 at the door. And I believe there was another room dedicated to Tyrone where Sheree goes in there, she FaceTimes him while he's in Philly, and she also sends him Snapchats. So then eventually they go to this little room and they get right to it. I mean, Kenya, she goes on to tell Sheree that she feels that Marlo's event was a complete joke because coming from Marlo, a person who says that they're so rich, that they have all this money, all this wealth, and all these connections, I mean, the event was kind of wompy. So you know Sheree was just like, yeah, time to produce. Don't call it a comeback. Okay, here goes nothing. So Kenya, I mean, Marlo, she was talking about you as well. And she said, who are you to talk? Because I mean, you used to have an apartment with a white refrigerator. So who are you to say anything? It's just so unfortunate after 9 years, that whole white refrigerator comment that Nene made 9 years ago, it still has never left my head. I mean, every time I look at a white refrigerator, I'm like, ugh. And Kenya lets Sheree know that she was on the phone with Kandi a couple nights ago because Andy had emailed all of them saying that you have to interact with each other. You have to film a bunch of scenes and make up a couple stories, even if they're not true for ratings, because last week the ratings were terrible and it was their lowest rating season. So this season they need to make up for it or they're possibly not going to have a season 15. So Sheree's like, continue. So then we find out that the assistant that Drew has, you know, the one that met Kandi last week, that he was just like, oh yes, slay queen. I love you, queen. Tens across the board. Tens. Shantae, you stay. Yes, mama queen. That one, Anthony. We come to find out that he's Drew's assistant, but he's also Sheree's part-time assistant. And he goes back and he tells Drew all of Sheree's business that she tells him. And I'm like, oh, so this is your fucking storyline, isn't it, Anthony? Like, there we have it, everybody. I mean, that's his purpose on this show. And now we find out how Drew and Sheree bumps heads. I mean, even then, I still don't understand how they have an issue when he's the issue between them. I mean, Drew's just being honest and telling Kandi, like, he's telling me business that I should have no business knowing about Sheree. So I'm not sure how they're going to bump heads. But I mean, if anything, Sheree needs to get Dwight from the earlier seasons and Miss Lawrence and bring them on the show and have them deal with Anthony one-on-one or two-on-one. But Sheree's like, don't worry, I'm the producer of this show, the executive producer, you know, but I'm gonna have a conversation with her. I think we're gonna have a sit down. We head over to the circus that is Drew's house and she's having dinner with her husband, Ralph. And we see their 700 assistants just running around all over the kitchen. And I'm like, what do they need assistants for? I mean, that many. I mean, I could understand maybe one, maybe two, but what do we need all these assistants for in this house? At this point, I feel like they're not even assistants anymore. They probably have like body cameras on them to watch Ralph in the house to make sure that he's not cheating on Drew with the chef. Drew talks about Marlo's La Confusion event and how she had a good time and she was talking to Kandi, and Kandi brought up the Instagram belonging to the assistant of Ralph, who was messaging him saying that, oh, I want to give you a massage, among other things. So then Drew asks Ralph, her husband, so did you like fire her? Like, what's the update with that? What's going on with that? And then Ralph, you know, he was caught off guard because he was mid-chew and he was just like, what do you mean I fired? Oh, fuck, let me come up with some lies. I fired her. Yeah, I fired her. Yeah, I fired her. So then Drew, she was not happy with that. She's like, okay, so you fired her, but do you still talk to her? Do you still communicate with her? And Ralph had the nerve and the audacity to look Drew in the face and say, well, do you not want me to talk to her? I mean, do you want me to cut her off? I mean, all we were doing was just talking, nothing crazy. I mean, we were gonna meet up after you went to sleep, but other than that, it wasn't nothing crazy. I mean, do you want me to stop talking to her? And I'm like, wow, Ralph, like, I mean, again, like I said last episode, he's a big walking red flag. And Drew, I'm not sure what you're not seeing. Drew, come over here, get a little closer. Come over here so I could tell you something, so I could ask you something in your ear. Get closer if you're watching. Is it his dick? Like, that must be it. You must be digmatized because I do not understand how are you not opening your eyes. Maybe you are. You just want to hope for the best, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, he's good looking, but damn, Drew, I mean, you have to have some type of standard and some type of boundary at some point. But then again, the way he looks, I mean, I will close my eyes or look the other way too at some point. Maybe a couple times, you know, maybe not too much. Maybe give him like 300, 400, 500 chances, but then Drew in the confessional, she's telling the producer, I mean, you know, people say that, you know, sometimes Ralph tries to gaslight me, but I don't really know what that means. So then Drew, she grabs her phone and she's like, okay, let's see. Gaslight, what is the definition? Hold on, it's loading. Do you have Wi-Fi? Okay, what's the Wi-Fi? RHOA 14? Okay. Let's see, what is gaslighting? Let's see, my husband. Like, what else do you not understand, Drew? It's just so sad. And I want to say, and I've seen a lot of people say this too, that it seems that they're just putting on for the cameras and they're just pretending to be like, you know, falling out of this marriage. But it's like, why would you go this route on this show to stay on the show? I mean, if you want to fake something for the show, at least let it be something else. You know, just say that you have a long lost sister like Melissa from New Jersey, or say something else, but don't pretend that your marriage is falling apart and have him make you look like a fool every other week. And we're only on week 2. Like, you know, so if you are faking Drew, it's pretty sad. But if you're not, it's even more sad that this is real and this is the reality of this man just treating you like this. And so then Ralph is just like, you know, I mean, if you want me to stop talking to her, just tell me that. I need you to tell me that. And then she was like, well, no, I shouldn't have to tell you anything. You should do it for the benefit of our relationship, for our marriage, because I don't want anything down the road to come up or like, you know, us go through bumpy rides. And then Ralph have the nerve and the audacity again to look Drew in the face and say, well, you know what, Drew, besides the situation that you're bringing up about my assistant, I resent you for a couple of more things in our marriage. And I'm like, what? And then he gets up and he walks away as if he's the one in the right to feel pissed about anything. I'm like, what, Drew? Come on now, like, open up your eyes. Like, what's going on? You see the red flag getting up and walking away from you. You should be walking away from this marriage as well. It's just so insane to me that Ralph really has manipulated this whole narrative to the point where I feel like I'm being manipulated too. Like, I feel like, wait a minute, am I the issue in their relationship at this point? Like, that's how he makes me feel as well. I'm like, that is just insane. The fact that he feels like he could give no explanation about his whole Tampa trip, that we still have no clear explanation about that. He doesn't want to cut off his assistant or stop talking to her for who knows why. We all know why. For at least to give Drew some type of peace in this marriage. That is your wife. It's not like it's your friend asking you like, oh, can you stop talking to the assistant? That is your wife. So if she really truly doesn't mean anything to you, you should just be like, okay, fine, whatever. And let it be that, especially with those suspicious text messages that she has been sending you. So we head over to Kandi's house and she's on the phone with Brian, her co-producer to this Broadway play that she's also a part of. And she's producing and she's telling him, so what did you think about everything that went down on the opening night? I mean, I was kind of nervous, but I think I was okay. But what did you think of it? So then Brian tells Kandi, oh, I think it was amazing. I mean, all the headlines were good. Everything about it was amazing. So I'm very proud of Kandi and she should be proud too. Kudos to her because she lets us know that she is part of the first Black production team on a Broadway play. And that's a big deal. That's amazing because she said that those type of opportunities never really happen. So then Todd, her husband, he walks in, or the producers send him. They're like, okay, go. Interrupt the phone call quickly. We need footage. Todd then asks Kandi, so how do you feel? I mean, this must be overwhelming. I'm so proud of you. And Candy's just like, I just feel very overwhelmed. I just feel like it's a lot going on right now. And I feel a lot of emotions right now. And I wish I could do this with somebody else. And it's hard to do everything by myself. And Todd is just like, why are you talking like as if you would do everything by yourself? I mean, I'm your husband. I'm always here next to you as well, mooching off your money. I mean, I'm always here supporting you as well. So, I mean, I'm not sure why you're saying that. And Candy's just like, yeah, but every time I do something with business, you're never around. You're always taking trips all over the world, and you're never really there for me. And Todd is just like, no. You take just as many business trips as well. I take my trips every other week. You do it like for months. And then Kandi, she's like, okay, touche, because she's like, oh, you always go on vacation, and you know, I never know what you really do, because apparently we find out that Todd also goes to Florida, specifically Miami, on these vacations. And Todd is just like, because Candy's just like, oh, so what do you be doing in Miami? And he's just like, oh, I just go to hang out. And I'm like, you what? I don't know. There must be something in Florida, because first Ralph is going to Tampa, and I'm pretty sure his Tampa is in Florida. And now Todd is going to Miami, which is also in Florida. But nobody gives a clear explanation of what exactly you're doing down there in Florida. I mean, the beaches are nice, but they're not that damn nice. So, I don't know, it's kind of suspicious. I'm like, Todd, I would hate to look at you sideways a little bit. And honestly, just between me and you, I'm actually very surprised that Kandi and Todd have actually stayed together for this long, because I would think that I honestly thought that he was going to be the one to check out of the marriage first, after dealing with everything with Mama Joyce and then everything with money, and it's just always money coming in between them. I would have thought that he'll be the one to like, okay, let me leave. But I don't know, this news right here, Todd, I don't know, it's very, very suspicious. What do y'all think? Do y'all think he's out there in Miami creeping and doing something suspicious, like Kandi said in her song, if you're out and about, don't think I'm not. I'm pretty sure those lyrics weren't for you, Todd. Todd also drops another bomb on us, because as him and Kandi are looking at the guest house, they're looking at the pool, they're looking at all the clutter around, all the furniture that's just scattered all over the floor. He's just like, well, you know what? I could put it in my Jersey condo. And I'm like, wait a minute. What in the Teresa Giudice is he talking about? What do you mean Jersey condo? Where did this come from? So apparently Todd had an ex. He was with his ex for, I'm assuming that was a very long time ago because he was with Kandi for a long time. So this ex was from a long time ago. Something happened, one thing led to another, and he ended up buying this condo that him and his ex supposedly were gonna have, but it ended up just belonging to him. So he's telling Kandi, yeah, all of this clutter here, we could just move it up there. And then Candy's just looking at him like, I'm not doing that because my name isn't on that lease. I don't even got the key for that type of condo, so I'm not doing that. But then Todd, he also touches her, and he's just like, well, I mean, my name isn't on the lease of this house either. And I'm like, what? Well, like, hold on. How long have both of you been together? And like, both your names aren't on the lease? I mean, I don't know. It just goes to show you that maybe Mama Joyce influenced Kandi and was just like, Kandi, no, I think he's going to try to, take all your money. So just don't put his name on the lease, because that's suspicious right there. And again, Todd, what exactly do you have that condo up there? Are you trying to cross over to the Real Housewives of New Jersey? Kandi tells Todd that she wants nothing to do with the condo in New Jersey because of the history between him and his ex. And you, Todd, knowing that information, why would you want the condo anymore? I mean, at this point, you say that it's empty. So what exactly are you using it for? Huh? And then him in his confessional, he's just like, well, I mean, it's not fair because when I moved into Candy's house, she didn't even flip the mattress or anything from her ex. And I'm like, what? So Kandi and Todd, you two were just on this mattress that has stains from the guy that she was with before? I mean, whatever. We head over to the candy factory and we see Marlo pull up in an Uber truck, and Marlo looks so damn good in that brown outfit that she had on. I wish that we would have got a look from the front, like to see how it looked from the front. We only saw it from the back and when she was sitting down, but from the looks of it, she looked amazing. I love that outfit on her. Marlo, if you have that on your archive or whatever you pronounce it, send that my way. And on top of that, I love her look in the confessional. The short hair, it really suits Marlo. It shows more of her face. So she goes into the room where Kandi is standing there and she's dressed up as Michael Darby doing a Halloween photo shoot, and I'm like, what is she doing? And then the camera person, he's dressed as I believe the Joker. And I'm like, what kind of kinky shit is going on in here? But she's doing a photo shoot for Halloween, and then Marlo's just like, oh, Kandi, what's going on here? Oh, this is scary. No, I'm leaving. No, let's sit down and have a conversation. So then Kandi, she finishes up with the photo shoot. They sit down, they start talking. Candy's just like, well, Marlo, I just really want to say that I'm very proud of your event that you had the other night. It was very nice, and I love the way that you had your nephews dressed. They look so nice in their tuxedos and their suits, and they look so nice, and I'm just very proud of you. And I don't want you thinking that I was being shady, because, I saw that Sheree and Sonia ran up to you, and they told you everything that we were saying behind your back. And Marlo's just like, no, Kandi, I understand. No, I understand. I know that you've been questioning me about my money for 10 years now. Just, what you should say to everybody else, that I'm a stripper at this strip club, and my name is Ginger, and I'm going to be there on Mondays. Yeah, on Mondays. And I'm just like, when people say, oh, that's saying, oh, sometimes you joke or you make fun of something, but you're saying the truth behind that. I'm like, Marlo, I mean, you still haven't given us an answer to like how you really make your money. And honestly, I would be here for it if Marlo pulled up to the next episode with one of the guys or whatever that she's dating, like a sugar daddy or whatever. I would be here for that. I would be like, well, you know what, Marlo? That's badass, and I'm here for that storyline, because I don't think we've seen that on the Housewives since Kim. Marlo tells Kandi that she wishes that she could be a little bit more supportive and a little bit more hands-on, as well as the rest of the women, when it came to helping out Marlo, because Marlo feels that sometimes it's hard being in her shoes, dealing with the two boys. She doesn't really know what to do, and then she's just telling Kandi, like, Kandi, first of all, I appreciate your Cash App of $50,000 to my boys. I appreciate that so much. But I don't know. I just wish that we could hang out or something, have like a movie night or something. Go to the mall, do some shopping, scam a couple guys that I know, do something like that. But you never really want to hang out or anything or have family time. And I'm like, Marlo, and Kandi made a good point, because Kandi was just like, Marlo, first of all, me and you were never really cool like that. We're kind of friends, but we always had like a rocky past. And when they play the flashback, Kandi and Marlo, they were never really best friends, and they even started off like on rocky terms at the very beginning when they first met each other. So Marlo, I don't really know how much more you expect from Kandi. And then on top of that, saying that you want a movie night from Kandi. A movie night what, between you, Todd, and Kandi? Or do you mean like you, your two nephews, Kandi, and her babies? Like, where's the correlation? Because what do they have in common? Unless you just want like a little girls trip between you and and Kandi, I could understand that. But I mean, the vibe between them just seems very, very awkward. And something in me is telling me that Kandi, deep down inside, doesn't truly care for Marlo, nor does she really like her. She's just putting up with her because she's on the show and she's a peach holder now and she has to communicate with her and talk to her. But I don't know if she really cares about Marlo. I could be wrong, but I'm like, is this what's gonna be the issue between them? This is what drifts them apart all season. I mean, again, what do y'all think? Do y'all think that Marlo's asking for too much? Is she asking for too little? Because then Kandi also pushes back and she's like, well, Marlo, you never invite me to your house, so I mean, what do you expect me to do? And then Marlo was just like, well, no, you could come to my house. You could come to my house anytime. You could come tonight. But Kandi was just like, no, I need to go take my paint off. And then Marlo's just like, oh, okay, fine. So it was just awkward the way they ended the conversation. But Marlo, again, like Kandi just made a point right there. You never invite her to your house or to wherever you're going or to anything. So how can you expect that energy from Kandi? I mean, you have to give to receive. Then we head back to the circus, which is Drew's house, and she's working out outside with Ralph. And Drew, I'm not sure if we'll see it later on in the season. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But if we don't, I think that a good idea for you would have been if you had all the women working out with your line, drop it with Drew or whatever you got going on, and have all of them working out. And maybe that way we could see, you know, like your routine and stuff that you do. But either way, Ralph, he goes up to Drew and he tries to, you know, smother her with love and try to show her affection. Now he's just like, oh, you know, like clear your whole entire schedule later for tonight because Andy told me that we have to film. I mean, because I want to be a good husband. And, you know, I got something romantic for you. So I want to show you a good time. And, you know, honestly, if I was Drew, first of all, I would have had a fake attitude. I would have been like, don't fucking touch me.
Stop playing. I have something special for you. Come over here really quickly.
You say you have what?
Something special.
You have what planned for us? You have something special?
Yeah.
But you're toxic, though. My stupid ass would have went right there like, you know what? You're forgiving. You could talk to your assistant again. It's fine. Then we get a scene with just the husbands. We get Todd, Ralph, and Aaron. And I'm like, why are we getting a scene with just the husbands? This is not New Jersey. This is not Salt Lake City. What are we doing here? But for the most part, I actually didn't really mind seeing their interaction because it came off organic and natural, not all desperate and camera ready like Zeph in Salt Lake City, who's a hot ass mess, or Joe in New Jersey, who's just always just pick me, put the camera on me, look at me, I'm being funny. So for the most part, I actually like their dynamics. So they meet up at Blaze, which is Kandi and Todd's restaurant, and I believe it was Todd. He showed up first, and he goes up to the host, and he's like, oh, hey, can I get a table? And then the host, he's like, oh, would you want some mussels? And I'm like, wait a minute. What kind of restaurant is this? They're offering mussels? But then come to find out he's offering the food muscle. I thought he was talking about the muscle. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, maybe I should go to Blaze. But is this the same restaurant that has the really bad ratings and the really bad reviews? I mean, I'm asking for a friend, but is this the same restaurant? But either way, they go and sit down at the table. They're talking about the age. We find out that Todd, he's actually 48. I don't know why I thought he was like 33 or something. He looks really, really good for his age. Todd, he tells Ralph, he's like, so Ralph, I had a conversation with my wife, Kandi, you know, former member of Escape, and we talked about the assistant that you had on and how she had a big butt or something like that, and her body, she wanted to give you a massage, and then here comes Ralph. I'm like, go ahead, Ralph, just continue digging that hole for yourself. Just continue, just open your mouth. Ralph is just like, look, Todd, Look, first of all, everybody in Atlanta has a big butt. Now, I've never been to Atlanta, so I can't confirm that for you. But he says that everybody in Atlanta has a big butt, evidently. And he's just like, I was looking for a massage therapist, you know, to massage my body. And, you know, my therapist was just like, oh, well, I can do it for you. You know, I can do it for you. But then his reply to the therapist was just like, oh, well, I'm a man, so you know. And I'm like, no, can you please elaborate for that? And I'm just like, typical trash ass answer, I'm a man, you know, like alluding to like, oh, well, if you give me a massage, it's going to lead up to something else, or it might escalate to something else. And then he starts saying, oh, well, you know, if I brush my teeth, I'm a man. If I put my face between her breasts, I'm a man. If I accidentally have a threesome with these two women, I'm a man. That was just his constant excuse for everything. And then he confused the hell out of me in the confessional. I had to watch it 3 times and I still had no idea what the hell he was talking about. He was just like, oh, well, you know, Drew, she always has a problem with everything. I mean, you know, I brush my teeth every single day with toothpaste, but on the weekends, I go to the park and play, and I play over here too. I play guitar too on Sundays. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Even the producers put question marks around because I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, honestly, this is probably his mode, a thing he does where he just talks in circles to confuse you to the point where you're like, okay, maybe I'm the lost one. Maybe I should go like sit down and read a book or something and like think about what he just told me. And he gets to skate away free with everything. But Todd, I'm also looking at him like, wait a minute, who are you to point fingers at him either or ask questions when we don't even know what you were doing in Miami just a second ago from Kandi? So, I mean, if you want to ask him stuff, why don't you fess up too, Todd? I mean, I just want to know, and Kandi wants to know too. Then we head over to Marlo's house, and she's there with her two nephews, Michael and William, and her two assistants, who are there helping her get them ready for homecoming. But before that, they're in the kitchen, and Marlo is teaching them how to dance because, you know, obviously they're going to dance the night away. She's like, this is how you dance. You have to have this amount of space between you. You have to move like this and dance like that and go this way and that way. And the whole scene was so cute. It was so sweet. I love seeing, again, like I said in my last review, I love seeing Marlo show this type of side to herself because we always kind of just known her for being in the background or just being, you know, there or getting into arguments. And I just love seeing this other side of her. Then she's like, okay, everybody needs to get ready for homecoming. Everybody go upstairs quickly. We need to get ready. I'm paying the limo driver and the photographer. Hurry up, go upstairs. So all the two boys, they go upstairs, they get ready in their nice suits. I love the color of the suits. It was like a dark blue. And then of course, Marlo, you know, Marlo had to name drop the brand. She was like, make sure that you got the Hermes belt. You need to get the Hermes belt. I just love how Marlo is so tentative of them. Like, she's so caring. And she's just videotaping them. She's recording them, taking pictures. We also get a small backstory of Marlo, and she's like, well, when I was younger, I never had this. I never had people or my family waiting for me down the steps, taking pictures of me, recording me, because my mom was always too busy getting high. Myself, Marlo, she used to get beat up herself when she was younger, and she always had to fight when she was younger. And it also goes back to Marlo's cold stone demeanor that we've always known to be on this show, and how she's always getting into fight with other women on the show. And when she does, she always hits below the belt. That probably all stems from her childhood when she probably had to do that when she was younger. She probably had to fight off other people in order to stop them from beating her up. She probably had to be the tough one all the time. So of course she grew up to be that way as well. But I'm glad that we also get a softer side here with Marlo as well. And then the boys, they come down, they look nice. Marlo's taking pictures with them. Again, it was all cute. And I love that Marlo's like, I never got a chance to have this, but I'm pretty sure that they're going to appreciate this. And they're going to look back at this moment like, you know what? My aunt Marlo, she actually was there for me and she took pictures of me. And it was a sweet moment. Then we head over to Drew's house and she's finishing getting ready because Ralph had planned out this beautiful, amazing, and romantic night out for both of them. Oh, so we thought. And she looks good. Her hair looks good. Her makeup looks good. The dress, I wasn't sure if she was ready to go have dinner with Ralph or to go compete on Dancing with the Stars with him. But either way, she looks good. Ralph planned out this elaborate exit for her to leave the house and have a red carpet leading up to the black truck where she hops in it and it drives her to the destination where he's waiting on her. And the destination, I'm not really sure where it was. It looked like a men's warehouse or some type of closet. But she shows up and she's confused. She's like, where am I and what are we doing in here? So he's like, just grab my hand. We're going to go in this closet. So they go into the closet that has a balcony. It has a table. It has dishes. It has everything looks cute, right? All the nice setup. He has a nice tuxedo or suit on. And then this is where everything goes downhill because he starts off by saying, well, Drew, I actually talked to our counselor and our counselor said that I should put a list of my priorities. And I started off with God. Then I put myself. Then I put my barber. Then I put the mailman. Then I put the Amazon driver because he delivers all our packages. Then I put the gardener because, you know, she makes our garden look really nice in the backyard. Then I put my 4th grade math teacher because she's just really, really nice. Then I also put the lunch lady from high school because she gave me my favorite food and it was really nice. She gave me an extra muffin. And then
2 hours later.
And then our local Wi-Fi provider because I need Wi-Fi to watch the TV and to use the internet and the new iPad that I just got. And then Drew, and then the kids. So yeah, I just feel like, you know, I'm making progress. What do you think? So Drew, she's just like, okay, well, I appreciate that and all, but I mean, I don't want our high highs to just be high highs and then we have low lows and then that all gets ignored. And then he just has a whole attitude. His whole mood just shifts. He's just like, okay, it's fine. It's like he expected like a reward or something for doing the bare minimum. Like, no, Drew shouldn't have to reward you for being a good husband or for like doing something to better yourself as well. Like, no, Ralph, that is not how it works. And then this is the part that really disgusts me because Drew is just like, give me your hands, give me your hands. And then he's just throwing a tantrum. He's just like, no, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm fine. Just continue talking. And she's like, okay, well, I just want things to be better between us. Like, I just want us to talk. Like, I don't want it to always be an issue every time I have to communicate my feelings or communicate something. It has to be a negative thing. And he's just like, you know what? No, it's fine. Like, I don't care. Like, it's fine. You know what? I'm actually gonna set something up between the counselor and you. And then this is where my my whole jaw dropped, because he was just like, I think I'm gonna set a counselor meeting up with you and him because I think that you need to learn how to talk to men. And I'm like, what? Like, absolutely not. Drew, if I was you, I would have gotten up. I would have been like, you know what? I'm leaving this broom closet and I'm going back home and we're divorcing, because that was enough ammo right there. Like, no, you're not going to embarrass me in front of all these cameras and in front of TV like this. Like, absolutely not. And this just goes to show that maybe they're really not faking this storyline. I mean, I know, like I said earlier, I know people think that they are, but I don't think that they will stoop this low. What do y'all think? Do y'all still think that it's fake? I don't know, because Drew just looks so emotional. I just felt so sad for her. I just wanted to, be like, Drew, tag me through the screen. Just tag me in so I could jump in and like defend you or something. It was just so sad. I don't like seeing somebody treat somebody else like that. So she throws it back to him and she's like, well, you know what? If I have to do that, then I'm going to have to schedule a counseling meeting between you and the counselor on how to talk to women. And he did not like that. He was just like, okay, I don't really have to do anything. She starts getting a little bit emotional because she sees that she's not getting through him. She starts getting teary-eyed. She gets up and you could just tell that she is just seconds away from a whole entire breakdown. She probably kept it together because she didn't want to show that on the cameras, but she cried a little bit because she walked away and she went into the broom closet's like hallway or something to clean her tears away. And I'm like, look at her. She looks so beautiful and just a waste, just, to cry over nothing, over her trash ass husband. So she comes back and then he, again, the nerve and the audacity, again, for the third time, he looks at her and he's like, you know what? I just feel like I do too much for you sometimes. And I'm like, what? Like, Ralph, I know you're not serious. Too much. Like, it was just a complete joke. I could not believe the things that was coming out of his mouth. And he's actually serious about that. He was just like, I just feel like I do too much for you. And we tried to have a good night and you can't just let certain shit just fly by or whatever. She's like, well, I just wanted to talk. Like, we can't just talk. We can't communicate. Like, and I just don't understand what Ralph wants to do. He wants to have a dinner with Drew, but he just wants to pretend like everything is okay. No, that is not how it works. That, if anything, that's how you get, your marriage to fall apart even faster, because you just sweep everything underneath the rug. That's not how it goes. That's not how any relationship goes in general. So he gets up and I'm like, what's he about to do? And he storms away. And then Drew, she sits down. And what kills me is that one last shot of her like picking up the fork, I think, and she eats something and she has her jacket over her and she's just looking so sad. And I'm like, that is so terrible, Drew. Like, you need to get out of this marriage with this man. Like, I don't care how handsome he is to you or whatever, or if you have children or anything. Like, sometimes you have to just walk away for your own happiness, because look, he's embarrassing you and it's only the second episode. He already embarrassed you last week. He embarrassed you last season. And now look, second episode. And I'm pretty sure if we have like 24 episodes, he's probably going to embarrass you all the way to the very end. And that was that, everybody. What did everybody think about this episode? Do you think that Ralph and Drew's marriage is strong enough to get through counseling? Maybe Ralph will change through counseling. Do you believe that he will? Or do you think that he'll just continue his pattern of just being a shitty husband to Drew? And maybe Drew will eventually open up her eyes and realize, you know what? I'm too good for this. Let me walk away from this. But who knows? Only time can tell. But all I can say is that it's pretty sad and I wish Drew the best. But let me know what y'all thought about this whole episode down in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, everybody. Mwah.